This new iPad Pro is now over 1,500 times faster. That's just ridiculous.
You can't compare anything to the first gen iPad. That thing was so slow. It's like saying the S21 Ultra is a gazillion times faster than a Casio watch. Okay. Holy moly guys. Okay, I've calmed down now, but phew, that was amazing. In this video, we'll talk about what all of these amazing new features on the iPad Pro mean for us and why we're so excited about this product. Is this becoming an iPad channel? No, it isn't. It's just that I'm excited for this product and what this can do for us, but rest assured, there are other products to be reviewed. They're all piling up here, so let's crack on. The new iPad Pro with the M1 chip, this is exactly what I was expecting. But in practical terms, what does this mean for us potential buyers? Let's start with the star of the show, the M1 chip. During the event, Apple said that the M1 shares the same fundamental architecture as the A series, so iPadOS can now take full advantage of the M1's powerful technology. But hang on a second. Yes, we now get the same performance as something like an M1 MacBook, but that doesn't mean we can run desktop apps straight away. There's a heck of a lot of work that Apple need to do to be able to fully migrate Mac apps like Final Cut, Logic Pro. It's not as easy as they're making it sound here at the event, but it all but confirms that the direction of travel for the iPad Pro is very much to be able to handle Pro apps. And of course, all of those high performance applications that we expect. And I'm really excited about that. By the way, I'm doing some digging right now and I'll be able to cover this in a lot more detail tomorrow. So if you're new here, subscribe so you don't miss out on tomorrow's video. Make sure you hit the bell. In tomorrow's video, I will get into a lot more detail to help you choose the right version of the iPad Pro for your needs. But guys, the hype goes beyond the fancy event and the huge numbers. By the way, why compare the latest iPad Pro with the original iPad? That's got to be one of the most irrelevant comparisons in history that we've ever seen in events. But I get it, those huge numbers look amazing. In 2018 they did the same with the iPad Pro. You know, they said that the GPU on the A12X at the time was 1,000 times faster than the original iPad. Like, you can't compare anything to the first gen iPad. That thing was so slow. Or the iPhone 12 Pro Max is 7.5 billion times faster than the 3GS. It's like, okay. Anyway, back to the power of M1. We are already starting to see some apps talk about how they will take advantage of the M1 on the iPad. Take Procreate for example. I know Procreate was already mentioned during the event, but here on their website you can start to see how they will take advantage of that extra processing power with painting 3D models for example and using augmented reality features. I'd love to see what people like Brad from Brad's Art School would be able to do with so much power in their hands. Amazing channel by the way, go check it out. But like many out there, I'm thinking, come on Apple, give us the icing on the cake. Let us run Pro apps. We've got to get Pro apps. And they did mention many other great high efficiency apps in the event, but they did not make any reference whatsoever to things like Adobe Suite or Final Cut, Logic Pro or Xcode. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see some of those announcements at WWDC in June. I love the fact that they made reference to LumaFusion though. They should just buy that company. It wouldn't surprise me if they did actually. But please Apple, give us the Pro apps. Just imagine how cool it would be not to replace the Mac, but to easily switch between the Mac and iPad without losing any of the performance. If we're able to run macOS apps on the iPad in some sort of merged way or in a different sort of OS, that's what I think will make the iPad Apple's best product ever. Let's hope they do that. We've got to ask ourselves, why am I spending nearly 2K on an iPad when I can just buy a powerful laptop instead? But if we do get desktop apps on the iPad, then the other question we should ask is, why would people buy something like a Microsoft Surface, for example, or any other laptop? Honestly, I don't think they will completely give us macOS on the iPad Pro, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll learn more in a few more weeks. Just to close off on the M1, during the iMac section of the event, Apple absolutely ripped Intel to shreds in a very Apple way, in a way that's elegant and smart. Yeah, it was very classy from Apple, I thought. I would not like to be at Intel right now. As I said in my previous video, I do hope that for competition's sake, they turn things around, but it's quite hard to see right now how that would happen. Intel probably needs a miracle right now, and if it does happen, I think it will take a while. Let's talk about the memory options on the iPad Pro though. Apple has always been a bit cagey talking about RAM, especially when it comes to the iPad. I have a feeling that if these Pro apps are coming, then we might want to save up a little bit and go for that 16 gig RAM option. I know I recommended I don't buy the big storage option, and I still maintain that. Don't buy the 2TB option unless you really need it. But for certain workloads, like if you're editing 4K and 8K videos, for example, then you might need the 16 gig option. With Thunderbolt support, there'll be many ways of working off external SSDs like Samsung T5 or even the T7, something like the SanDisk Extreme. This is a 2TB version from SanDisk. I use this right now to edit something like this video. I'll be pumping that in here and editing on this. If I can do the same on the iPad, connecting the iPad to a bigger monitor, that'll be amazing. But the main point is using something like an external SSD will save you a few hundred, so don't buy the top storage unless you really have to. My gut feel is only go for the 1TB or 2TB option if you're really planning on editing anything beyond 4K resolution videos, or you're working with lots of 3D modeling and other really memory hungry high performance apps. You gotta give it to Apple. They will always find a way of getting our cash. They're like, yes, you can have Thunderbolt. Here, have Thunderbolt. Work off of SSDs, no problem. Thunderbolt, fantastic. Oh, you want more memory? Oh, okay. If you want more memory, you need to buy the 1TB option. Thanks. But for myself, I don't plan on editing 8K timeline anytime soon. For most of what I do right now, even 1080p is fine. 4K is a nice to have right now. So personally, if I do find a good reason to go to the 16 gig RAM, it will be for the 1TB version storage, not higher than that, but we'll see. More on that in tomorrow's video. But as far as the announcement goes, to get the iPad Pro with Thunderbolt and the new display that's amazing, it really is a dream for me. So my existing OG iPad from 2015 went immediately on eBay, and I hope to order the 12.9 version come the 30th of April. So stay tuned for the unboxing, the reviews, the comparisons, and let's talk about the display a little bit right now. The fact that they were able to use the same technology as the technology used in the Pro XDR displays got me really nervous to start with. When they were talking about that, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. The base model is going to cost $1,500 by the time we're done with it. But that wasn't the case, and I think the price is actually fairly reasonable. Considering all these new features, yeah, $1,100 is not too bad. But the same Pro apps argument is valid here as well. Why have all these amazing color accuracy, brightness and contrast ratio if we can't use the Pro apps that will let us take advantage of those? Something has to be coming. The tech is incredible though. It was interesting when they were putting the mini LED tech in perspective by comparing to the original iPad, which had like 75 LEDs. That was incredible. And they're now grouping 10,000 LEDs into 2,500 zones. So to be able to give us that control when it comes to brightness and contrast ratio, it's a massive leap. By the way, there's lots more to talk about around the other launches as well. If you want to check out what I think about the AirTags, for example, or the M1 iMac, subscribe and hit the notification bell because I will be releasing those videos as well in the next few days. Okay, then they talked about 5G and they mentioned that again. That wasn't really that impressive for me. I'm glad they didn't make too much of a song and dance about it. It was probably a minute or so about, a few people working from a boat. And I have to say, it doesn't rock my boat. See what I did there? And when it comes to battery efficiency, this is something that I was hoping for before the event. I thought, are we finally going to see them promising more than 10 hours battery life? And guess what? They didn't. They said all day battery. But here's what all day means at Apple. Yep, still means 10 hours of surfing the web on Wi-Fi or watching videos, and 9 hours if you're using cellular. Okay, so same battery efficiency as before. On the portability side of things, there was already a huge market out there for people like students, professionals in real estate, architecture, creators, that are all considering a tablet or an upgrade. With the Thunderbolt connectivity and USB 4 support, the high-performance accessories that should start coming through now are going to make your iPad Pro pretty damn close to a Pro computer. But let me know down below if you would still buy a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro or even a Windows laptop instead of the iPad Pro, and why. For real pros like professional video makers, photographers, etc., I think the MacBook might still make more sense right now, but I'd love to hear what you think. So comment down below, I'll have a nice chat with you down there, and I'll see you and your smiling faces in the next one tomorrow. And if you're watching this in the future, just click here in one of these videos. Bye.